Guys, I don't think you understand how much is about to kick off in the next few hours. So right now, as I'm recording, Trump is meeting with the Crown Prince of Saudi, Mohammed bin Salman, and today they're going to be signing a $1 trillion investment commitment in the United States, which actually rose in that meeting from 600 billion. Just casually, oh, let's just add another 400 billion. What's 400 billion among friends, huh? But also happening in the next few hours, also in DC, is a hugely significant vote from the House of Representatives whether to or not release the Epstein files. And this vote has been stalled for months, only for it to be landed on the same day there is a massive global internet outage. Yes, because also happening right now, you've probably seen it already, the IT company Cloudflare, which underpins thousands of websites around the world. We're talking X, ChatGPT, Spotify, Zoom, Canva, and many more. So many people couldn't access this today. Now, they have said that the problem is being fixed, but many people are still reporting that they can't access certain apps and websites. It doesn't end there. Ronaldo, he is in Washington right now, and he is going to be having dinner and a meeting with Donald Trump literally in the next couple of hours. And they're going to be speaking about the World Cup, world peace, and apparently what they have in common. Love to know what that is. Looking forward to that. But then also it doesn't end there, because Nicki Minaj, she's going to be delivering a speech to the United Nations at their headquarters in New York. What a wild world. She said that she's going to be working alongside the Trump administration to highlight the claims of Christian persecution in Nigeria. All of that happening right now. Holy hell! Was black magic just used in a World Cup qualifier? So last night, Nigeria and DR Congo played, but only one could qualify. Now, Nigeria ended up losing on penalties despite their best efforts at sabotage. But the wild part is their head coach is blaming it on voodoo. Footage shows in the final moments of the penalty shootout, chaos erupting as Coach Chile was trying to confront someone on Congo's team, not once, but twice. But in a bizarre post-match interview, he was asked why he got so angry.
During all the penalty decision, a guy of Congo did some voodoo. Every time. So this is why I was a little nervous after him.
What did you see?
Yeah, something like that. With the I don't know if it's a water or something like that. So
now with this result, the whole of Nigeria is heartbroken right now. But considering this is the second time in a row they failed to qualify, that raises the question: is there some voodoo involved, or was the coach just a little salty? Okay guys, some absolutely stunning breaking news. The Prime Minister of Bangladesh, who was in power for over 15 years, has just been sentenced to death. Now, as you guys remember, last year we covered those huge protests that the country had, which ultimately led to the overthrowing of the government and Sheikh Hasina, their prime minister, having to literally flee the country. She's now in India. And we're talking like the protesters broke into her palace, filmed themselves, and they posted online and them destroying the place, eating her food from the kitchen. But now, over a year later, a court in Bangladesh has just found her guilty of various crimes against humanity after she ordered a crackdown on those protests, which ultimately led to the death of 1,400 people. And I mean, look at the court breaking into celebration as the death penalty was read out. This is a historic moment in the country's history. Now, Sheikh Hasina has called the court verdict biased and politically motivated. As things develop, I'll keep you guys updated. The UK government is set to narrow the width of their roads across the country for the safety of cyclists. Now, Mail on Sunday report that according to official guidance quietly published last week, the standard 12-foot width of a road in Britain should shrink to 10 foot 8 inches so that cars don't have enough space to try and overtake cyclists, therefore causing fewer accidents. They say they should also allow for cyclists to ride more centrally in the road. However, in some cases, they also say that it could be expanded to at least 12 foot 10 inches, giving more room to overtake. For perspective, 12 foot has been the standard width of road in Britain for nearly 150 years. Now, Mail on Sunday say that the guidance will be applied to billions of pounds of future road building schemes, and local authorities which defy the recommendations could see reduced transport funding. The Standard report that ATE guidance is not legally binding, however, councils are expected to follow it. The question is this a good idea or not. It's only been 2 days since Apple released their iPhone Pocket, and it's already becoming the most controversial product of the year. Now, Apple's Pocket announcement was met with huge trolling online, especially since what's essentially a sock was priced at $150 for the short version and $230 for the long one.
If you spend a penny on the iPhone Pocket...
But, it was limited edition. It was also reminiscent of, 20 years ago, Apple releasing the iPod sock. But that was $29 for a 6-pack. So many people started making videos online saying that this was the worst product Apple has ever dropped.
No one should be buying a literal sock. If you walk anywhere near me wearing an iPhone Pocket, I'm gonna do something to your pocket.
And if people actually spent that much money on a piece of cloth, we were past the point of no return. Especially considering the current cost of living crisis everyone's always complaining about. But when they were released on Friday, they sold out. Almost immediately. So, for the people who did cop, maybe just wait a couple of days for things to cool down before wearing them in public.
I'm gonna do something to your pocket.
Kenya, you might have a war coming your way because the president of Uganda, Kenya's landlocked neighbor, just said that the Indian Ocean belongs to him and that if he doesn't get guaranteed access, they will face wars.
That ocean belongs to me because where is my ocean? I'm entitled to that ocean. In future, we are going to have wars. In future, we are going to have wars. How can you say?
Now, only hours after he made these threats, the country's defense chief, who is actually also the president's son, said that Kenya must grant us swift access to the Indian Ocean because it rightfully belongs to us, and that in the future there will be very big problems if they do not respect our wishes. This is also the same general who got in big trouble for previously saying it wouldn't even take 2 weeks for him and his army to capture Nairobi. Now, Kenyans have mostly responded with sarcasm, advising Museveni to take some water from the ocean and make his own ocean in Uganda. But here's where things get a little bit more serious, because it's not only Uganda talking about war because of access to the sea. Just last month, Ethiopia, the world's most populated landlocked country, accused Eritrea of actively preparing for war. This is partly because Ethiopia has been pursuing access to the sea for the last 32 years, ever since Eritrea declared independence from Ethiopia in 1993. But Uganda's president also said that war is not the only way, saying that if African countries want to contend with the world, they must unite and collaborate so that they too can do big things like, and he says this, go to the moon. So the question is, are we looking at future ocean wars in Africa, or will they be able to find another way? Guys, it's official. Vine is back, but with one big difference. So not only will it have the exact same 6-second looping videos, but it'll also give access to more than 100,000 archived Vines. But instead of Elon being the person to bring Vine back like he said he wanted to, this app, now called Divine, will be backed by none other than Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey. But the one big thing that makes Divine totally different to other social media platforms is that it will prohibit AI content. In fact, it will scan for and flag suspected generated AI content and prevent it from being posted. It's essentially trying to act as a safe haven. So is this just another hopeless attempt to capitalize on nostalgia? Or can they actually fix the problems Vine had and make it successful this time around? Gen Z in Mexico have had enough. Massive protests erupted yesterday in several cities, including outside the presidential palace, where Claudia Sheinbaum works and lives. Protesters say that they are angry at the government's failure to clamp down on violent crime in the country. And while it started out peaceful, a small group of protesters started tearing down fences and throwing objects at riot police, leading to clashes and a response of tear gas and fire extinguishers. Around 120 people were injured, with 100 of them being police officers. Now, these protests were triggered by the recent public assassination of Mayor Carlos Manzo, who was very outspoken about organized crime in the country. Demonstrators at this protest chanted, "Carlos did not die, the government killed him." And also, similar to other Gen Z organized rallies around the world, the One Piece flag was seen there too. But to give you an idea of what they are protesting, since the year 2008, American politicians have been murdered. In that same time frame for politicians in Mexico, that number stands at a staggering 1,271. Mexico's 2024 general election was one of the most violent in the country's history, and the CPJ committee recently found that Mexico has the highest number of disappeared journalists in the world. world. Yet, to date, not one case of a disappeared journalist in Mexico has ever led to a conviction. And also, out of Mexico's 130,000 people registered as disappeared, only 35 have led to a conviction. Now, Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, responded to these Gen Z-led protests by questioning their motivations. She said that they were inorganic, paid for, promoted from abroad, and amplified by bots on social media. Something big is brewing in America. Yesterday, Donald Trump suspended all immigration from Afghanistan after a man shot 2 National Guard members in the head, not just on US soil, but only blocks away from the White House. And today, this is being treated as a massive deal. The FBI are investigating the incident as a possible act of international terrorism. We've seen statements from former presidents like Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Trump called it a crime against the entire nation. And they've even now deployed 500 more National Guard members to Washington on top of the over 2,000 already there. Now, the suspect was recently identified as a 29-year-old national from Afghanistan who entered the country in 2021 under Operation Allies Welcome. Other National Guard members nearby shot him 4 times, which he survived, and then apprehended him. He's apparently not cooperating in questioning by authorities, but the wild twist in this whole story is that the CIA director, John Ratcliffe, told Fox News that the shooter actually worked with the US government, including the CIA, while he was still in Afghanistan, which is why he was allowed to come into the US. So why now he has suddenly switched and carried something like this out is a complete mystery. But of course, I'll keep you guys updated as we know more. Bro, squatters have hit the absolute jackpot after managing to take over an entire Spanish resort. All of the 92 suites are now occupied, and the owners still legally have to pay gas and electricity. This is Callao Sport Hotel on the popular holiday island of Tenerife. And about 10 months ago, it was broken into by a group of 12 what they call mafia squatters. What a name. And they've essentially refused to leave ever since. And they are now even renting out rooms as if they own it. And as a result of this, the crowd living there is now risen to about 200 people. Bro, the Christmas rave they're about to have is going to be outrageous. But you're probably wondering, how the hell is this possible? Well, Spain is renowned for having very strict tenant protection laws, especially when it comes to evictions. So the actual procedure to have someone removed from your property can be very lengthy and very difficult. In fact, the owners say that the bills they now have to pay per month is about 6,000 euros. They say that is triple of what they were paying when this resort was operational because of how many people live there. But the squatters, on the other hand, they're also blaming the government for this. They are saying that authorities have long neglected locals in favor of benefiting tourists. And because of that, house prices have reportedly risen to 80% in the last decade in the region. So they claim that they can no longer afford rent, so they just kind of go wherever they need to. Now, after a year of litigation back and forth, a court has finally ordered the eviction of the squatters within 30 days. So I guess we'll see if they actually leave.